I think Angel Reese, and I'm say this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky.
Angel Reese might be running for more than just a back injury. 3 games in the last 3 weeks, each one a blowout loss. A team that hasn't sniffed success since June, stumbling with no real answers. And yet, all anyone hears from the Sky is that she's still day-to-day. No reports, no medical clarity, just silence, frustration, and growing doubt.
The second missing component in the WNBA right now is Angel Reese and her dozens of aliases. Has anyone seen Bayou Barbie lately? Where in the hell is Double Double Barbie? Where is the me-bound clown? It has been weeks since I have heard anything about Angel Reese.
Now fans are starting to say Reese has quit, and the questions keep multiplying. What's really going on here? And why is she showing up to promote sneakers in Indiana but not play games for her own team, her teammates, or the loyal supporters who've been waiting desperately for a turnaround?
Angel Reese has been dealing with a back injury. That is the official reason for her mysterious absence. But there has been rampant speculation that this back injury isn't as serious as Angel Reese claims. And some believe that Angel Reese has quit on her team and quit on the season.
Why is Angel Reese still listed as day-to-day after weeks of no play? That's the part that doesn't make sense. Normally, when a player gets hurt, the team is quick to release exactly what's going on. You'll hear things like knee strain, ankle sprain, concussion protocol, or at the very least some kind of description.
She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day-to-day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese.
With Angel Reese, the Chicago Sky just keep repeating the same 2 words over and over, day to day. No extra details, no timeline, not even a hint of what sort of issue she's dealing with. And after nearly a month of this, fans are asking if it's really an injury at all or if the team is keeping something else under wraps.
In the last 4 weeks, Angel Reese has played 3 games. I'm no expert in math, but that appears to be less than 1 game a week. Unsurprisingly, all 3 games Angel Reese played in, the Chicago Bravado lost by an average of 18 points.
If you follow other teams around the league, it's obvious how different this is. The Indiana Fever, for example, always announce specifics. If Caitlin Clark tweaks something, you know what area of the body, how severe it looks, and whether there's a return timetable. That's the normal way. Professional sports work because transparency buys trust. Fans want to feel like the organization respects them enough to be clear about their star players. The Sky approach with Reese has done the opposite. It's created nothing but confusion.
Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day-to-day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
And when you actually look at the numbers, the weirdness gets worse. Over the last 3 weeks, Reese has only suited up 3 times. That's it. 3 games. Nothing about that screams day-to-day. That schedule looks more like we don't expect her back anytime soon. But instead of just admitting it, they stick to the same empty label. The silence forces people to make their own guesses. And the guesses are way harsher than if the team had just told the truth up front. Now, here's where it gets sticky. Some fans believe this vagueness is hiding a bigger issue than basketball. Maybe the Sky are protecting her image. Maybe Reese herself doesn't want the public to know the real reason. The head coach hasn't helped clear things up either. Each time he's asked, he repeats those same 2 words, day-to-day. No clarification, No medical report. Remember, ESPN already suggested she's probably finished for the season. That's basically the opposite of day-to-day. When you compare those two narratives side by side, it makes Reese and the Sky look like they're trying to play games with the fans rather than just giving straight answers.
Reese doesn't really care about basketball.
So, here's the real question on everyone's mind. Is Angel Reese actually dealing with a serious injury, or is she just strategically unavailable? It's hard not to wonder if day-to-day is just a softer way of saying out indefinitely. People don't know whether to expect her. Back next week, next month, or not at all. And the longer this goes on, the worse it looks because, let's be real, timing matters in sports. And in Reese's case, the timing is raising even more eyebrows.
I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi Leonard. I think she's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball.
How do you play 3 games, lose them all by an average of 18 points, and then disappear? That's the part people can't stop pointing out with Angel Reese. When she was on the floor, the Chicago Sky were still getting blown out. And once she stepped away with this so-called day-to-day tag, the team didn't even have a chance to recover.
She knew, she identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not gonna win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume.
The truth is, the Sky have been sitting on an 8-24 record, and they've been eliminated from the playoff picture since early June. That is brutal. Nobody expects a collapse that's steep from a star player, but walking away at a moment like this makes you look more like you're protecting yourself than fighting through the storm with everybody else.
I came to this conclusion this weekend when I watched the Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese.
You can't ignore the timing here. The team is drowning, the season already dead, and the losses are piling up fast. Every time Reese is missing, it becomes easier for fans to believe she doesn't want to carry the blame. People have even thrown around the idea that she's avoiding being remembered as part of the worst team in the league. Imagine being tied to an 8-24 record for your first season.
These losses will not be on my resume. It'll actually, in her mind and in some of these Twitter groupies that post about her, this is proof of how valuable Angel Reese is. The Chicago Sky are 1-10 in games Angel Reese doesn't play.
That's a stain that sticks to your resume forever. So instead, she gives herself the out, sit down, call it day-to-day, and make sure nobody connects her brand to all those ugly box scores. But here's the issue. When she did play, it didn't change much. They still went down by double digits and the scoreboard was just as ugly. So that whole theory falls apart if you actually look at the results. If she wanted to prove her value, staying on the court could have been her chance. Instead, all it's done is let more critics point fingers and say she wanted no part of the mess.
Like I said, I agree with Jason Whitlock. I think Angel Reese has quit on the season. The Bravado are 8-24. They were essentially eliminated from the playoffs back in June. I'm sure Angel Reese believes that there's no reason for her to play, but I think it could be a bit deeper than that too.
Then there's the brand game. While she was sitting out, she still made the trip to Indiana, not to play, but to push her Reebok sneakers. She even dropped that bold line about taking over Caitlin Clark's trap, basically marketing herself right in Clark's backyard. That's a pure off-court move. She was all smiles, selling shoes, shaking hands, and making headlines. But when it came time to actually suit up against the Fever, she never touched the floor.
Last weekend, the Indiana Felines played the Chicago Bravado in prime time on ABC. They drew 1.3 million viewers. It was the least watched game between these two teams since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese entered the league. Guess who would have been blamed for these ratings if she was playing last weekend? Angel Reese. Guess who would be blamed for the declining mainstream interest the last few weeks if she was on the court? Angel Reese.
That's the kind of decision that makes people wonder where her priorities really are. You can't sell yourself as a superstar off the hardwood if you're ghosting the games. Fans bought tickets to see. And then when her grandmother was in the crowd for another game, suddenly she was back on the court.
I'm gonna tap out. I'm not gonna take the hour and a half, 2-hour bus ride or 30-minute flight to Indianapolis and accompanying my team as they go to war against my so-called rival. I'm not gonna return to the city that I was there 2-3 weeks ago during the All-Star festivities, and I was running around with Reebok creating the myth that I took over Caitlin Clark's trap.
The irony couldn't be louder. She'll show up for exposure. She'll show up for sneaker promotions, but not for her struggling team. That gap between branding moves and basketball effort is what keeps people circling back to the same conclusion. Angel Reese looks way more invested in building her image than in fixing the disaster the Sky have become. And when you stack her choices next to someone like Caitlin Clark, the difference is huge.
The only reason Angel Reese agreed to play against Washington is because her grandmother was in attendance, and it was the first time Grandma would see her granddaughter clap back at the haters in the WNBA dump.
2 stars, 2 injuries, but only one shows up for the fans. That's the thing people keep saying when they bring up Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Both are supposed to be the faces of the league. Both have some kind of injury situation, yet the way they've handled them couldn't be more opposite. Clark's team always gives updates. She's kept in the spotlight through consistent information, and fans know what's going on with her recovery. It might not always be good news, but at least people aren't left in the dark. Rhee, on the other hand, has been stuck on that mysterious day-to-day list without a single detail. One player makes herself available, the other disappears.